Hi folks, welcome to another quick episode of Ask a Retired Pro. This is the video series updated version of my book. Today we're going to answer if your clothes or your bike stuff in general have to match. We'll get into the latest of hot cycling fashion, and then we'll discuss those strangers who you pass on the road and they just start sitting on your wheel for a free ride. Today's sponsor is BetterHelp. Use my link below to save 10% on BetterHelp therapy. The days are getting longer, but in a lot of places you're still dealing with like the super gloomy winter.
And how does that make you feel?
Well, it makes me feel depressed, and then I probably don't have as much time to ride my bike, so that makes me feel anxious. Are you a person who gets passed by a cyclist on the road and then decides that you're in a non-consensual bike race? This might be just what you need. I've been doing therapy for 10 years now. Especially for dudes, I think it's sort of hard to admit that you need help, but really everybody could use some help.
Would you mind getting your feet off of my couch?
Oh, yeah, sure. Hey, why are you smoking a plastic pipe? Honestly, it helped right away, and my biggest regret was how long I waited. So go see a therapist, you'll feel better, you'll be better, and it'll help your sports performance if that's what you're looking for. BetterHelp will match you with a therapist. If you don't vibe with the first one, you can switch around. BetterHelp is making therapy easier, cheaper, and more accessible. Give it a try. Hey Phil, do my cycling clothes have to match? Do socks go over or under the leg? Just please. Let me stop you right there. I got into this question more in depth in the Philuminati video a few years ago, so I'll refer everyone to that. But the answer is no. Outside of the pros who get paid to match and get their stuff for free, nobody else has to. If you have more fun, if your bar tape matches your socks, power to you. Cycling is already expensive. If your bar tape is different colors, if your tires don't match different brands, different sizes, whatever, I don't care. The golden rule is anyone who's riding their bike and not being a dick is doing it right. Beginning of this year, I posted photos of my new kit, and in general, folks said, hey, it looks great. My post was, hey, here's what I look like this year. Make sure you don't forget to wave at me. But a weird percentage of my audience took this as an invitation to, good or bad, rate my personal appearance. Like, when did I sign up for Miss America? I've always just been like a solid color t-shirt kind of guy. I never claimed to have any fashion sense or style. My kit was designed by brand managers and my friend who's a graphic designer. Of course, I worked hard on it, and most of the comments were positive, but it's hard not to take the negative ones personal. But more importantly, why are we having this conversation at all? Now, I should be an adult and not take it personal, but I hope you're not doing this to everyone on the group ride. My first year as a pro, I was on Jelly Belly. My socks, my shoes, my bar tape, the bike, everything matched perfectly, and it was covered in brightly colored jelly beans. There was no denying that I looked like an idiot. We're all out there wearing brightly colored tights. It's not cool. It's never been cool. It never will be cool. Just have fun with it. So nothing has to match. And to the fashion police out there, unless their quick release is open and they're about to hurt themselves, or maybe their helmet is on backwards, just keep your mouth shut. Quick release? Okay, boomer. Hey Phil, people ever try and race you when you're out training? Or do they sit on your wheel if they see you and try to hang on? Unfortunately, I think all cyclists have run-ins like this. There's just a human competitive nature going on. I understand when I pass a kid on like a BMX bike on the sidewalk and he races me to the next block, but when you're an adult, knock it off. I once had a 40-year-old man like drop his wife and kids to race me on the bike path for 15 minutes on Christmas Day. It's a weird thing when you like follow a training plan and I'm keeping my heart rate at exactly 140 beats a minute and someone is sitting on and attacking and sitting on and attacking. And then inevitably what they do is they get slightly ahead of you and then they stop and make a right turn so they can feel like they won. I wasn't remember what the dinner conversation was like with that guy that night. Like, I knew we were just out for a nice ride together and I was late for Christmas dinner, but don't you understand, this was my big chance. Not all of them race you. A lot of folks just, you'll pass them and then they'll sit on your wheel. And that situation is a little bit more delicate. Normally my thought is, I went out for my ride, you went out for your ride, and suddenly like just seeing another person, you're changing your whole ride plan, that's kind of weird. But it's technically harmless. It doesn't exactly cost me anything to have someone sitting on my wheel. All that said, like now I've got to point out the potholes, I've got to hold in my farts. I also don't know your skill level. If someone pulls out in front of me, maybe I'm on disc brakes and you're on rim brakes, I slam the brakes, are you gonna run into me? But I never like looked over my shoulder and told some stranger to get lost. The polite thing to do would be to come up next to me when you first see me, ask, hey, is it cool if I sit on your wheel? And I'm gonna say yes, even if secretly I don't want to. One time my coach told me to do an endurance ride on PCH, so totally flat. He didn't want me to do any coasting. A guy sat on my wheel from Santa Monica all the way to the Rock at Point Magoo. That's like 40 miles and back. Dude never said a word, and for 3 hours I was like low-key annoyed. And then finally I looked back and told the guy like, hey man, I'm gonna stop for coffee just so you know. And he was like, oh, you know what, I'll buy. And just like that, I went from hating him to he was my best friend. Dude was a doctor, super cool. Big exception here, dudes. If a woman passes you, don't sit on. That's stalkery, that's creepy. You could totally freak someone out with that move. Like if you ran into a woman on the street and you followed her home, you're gonna get arrested. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment if you have a question for a retired pro. See you next time.